Hey everybody, welcome back to Stamping School. I'm going to be using this Gathering Together suite today. I had a question from Anne who asked, she emailed me and asked if I could show how to use the dies on a regular size card. She said, because they're so big, I don't know what to do with them. And they are quite large. When I opened the package, I was a bit surprised too. So of course I should read the description, but I didn't. And I just, I love leaves, so I ordered them. And they're really cool. But they were bigger than I had thought they were going to be. The stamp set is really nice. Many thanks. Your friendship means the world to me. That's actually why I bought this set, because I like that. Thankful for you. Expressing heartfelt gratitude. Gather. And these stamps are all the distinctive, which is something they do where they do the etching on them. So I'll show you a little trick to make sure they come out right when you ink them up for the first time. And then the dies. So the dies all cut out these images that are in the stamp set. And then you also get these two very large leaves, a maple leaf and what is that, a poplar? I don't know my leaves, sorry. But they have these dots in there, and in the examples that Stampin' Up! Used, they actually sewed, took twine with a needle and thread and went through all of those. Good for them. I'm not going to do that, but I think if you like to do that sort of thing, that's kind of cool. You can see the texture on this one. This is gold, but you can see those holes in there. They're kind of cool. You can also just take a marker and just draw dot to dot to dot. If you want to do a faux stitching, that would be kind of cool. This is the card we're going to do. So Anne, this is a regular size card, 4 1/4, 5 1/2 when it's folded, okay? So it fits. It fits even with layering. Now you can use these alone, like if you wanted to cut out designer paper or something with just the shapes, you certainly can. You can also cut it out and make a stencil out of them. That would be kind of cool. You can cut them together, but what you're gonna wanna do if you cut them together, if you roll through one pass with these, when you put them together on your paper, and in your machine, if you're going to roll them together, you must tape them down, because any little shift of this, and that could ruin your die. You know that it won't cut in that one place if it gets squished. So you get it just the way you like it, tape it down, and then run them through. Even with a magnetic plate, you want to still tape these down if you're going to run them together. Or, you can run them separately. So you can cut it, and then you can, run that through the second pass to put all the holes in it. On this particular one, for this card, we aren't going to do the holes. We're going to emboss it and do a little extra texture and sparkle on there. So I've got just the basic white, and we're going to start with yellow. With this one, I started with the Darling Duckling, but I feel like I need the curry. So we're going to start with the curry first. I've already got inky spot. Tape it down just a little bit when you're doing this so it doesn't move around on you, and then you don't have to worry about your fingers getting into it too much. You can use the sponge daubers, you can use sponges, you can use the brushes, whatever you want. But get your first coat on there. Don't worry that it doesn't look pretty. You're just going to get that yellow all over, and then we're going to go back in there with the rust. Now, with this one, I did Timid Tiger to try that color out. And then I wanted it to be a little bit brighter, so I ended up going back in with the Cajun Craze. And the paper that we're using has Cajun Craze too, so that kind of, that sealed the deal for me to use a little bit more Cajun Craze. All right. In this color, this one is a small brush. The brushes come in 2 different sizes. But, the makeup brushes are kind of the same thing. I haven't really found a big difference between the makeup brushes and these. As long as they feel good in your hand, I'm going to go a little bit darker. I like it when it's a little darker along the edges. I'm going to go back in with the yellow and just deepen that up a little bit right there. I don't think I'm going to do any green on it, even though I've got the green card. I've got a little bit of green back here. I think I'm just going to keep it fall. All right, and then I'm going to take it and emboss it. Now, if you wanted to emboss it first, then all of these little embossed raised things are going to be darker when you sponge it. So if you like that, that's good, but I didn't want it to compete with my sentiment, so I'm gonna do it after. This is a great little folder. It's called Gathering Leaves, and it is directional, so make sure the leaves are going in the direction that you want. And it's a big one, so you know it'll do a few cards at one time. But just make sure the Stampin' Up! Image is on the top when you stick this in, if you want those to be raised up. So you can kind of see what that's gonna look like. I like it because it matches the paper we're gonna use. So if you can see right here, it's got the same little images on the paper. I kind of like that. Now it's gonna be kind of hard to see. See that pretty texture on there? I love that. I'm taking a little Wink of Stella, the little sparkle stuff that we have, and you could take a little gel pen or little whatever and just adding a little sparkle to the leaves. I just think it just, when you hold it in person, it makes such a difference. And I'm just going down on like that on each little stem that's on here. Sometimes it flows out a little too much, so you have to say, whoa, slow down, and take some of the sparkle off. Too much. There we go. That Gathering Together paper, which I've used a few times already, is just so, so pretty. It's got these little gold accents in there. I was surprised that the dies did not cut these out. They look like they were going to, and I thought they were, but they do not match up. Unless I'm missing something. I'm not really seeing, even on these right here, they're not matching up. Even that doesn't match. And they look like they should, but they don't, which is kind of a miss, because I would love if the dies cut the designer paper. So if I'm wrong, let me know, but I went through all the designs and I couldn't find one that actually worked. So it's really pretty paper though. So this time I'm gonna do Cajun Craze as my base layer, and I wondered if this paper, because it has this kind of wood grain, how that would look, if it's too much. Might be too much. Let's see. Got a little piece of this down at the bottom, and a little piece of green, and that. Yeah, it looks okay. I think I like how modern this one looks. I think I'm going to go back to the green and the brown. So about 1.5 inches here. I'll print the measurements for you. You can print that out, but pretty standard. 1.5 inches, and this one is 3/4. Let's stick that right there. And then this will go here. Now this Autumn Greetings, obviously you could put a banner or something like I did on the inside, but I hadn't used these letters much, these words, and they come in a whole set. It's called Words of the Season, and I haven't even cut them all out yet, but they look like they're gonna be really nice because they've got Happy Holidays, Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Christmas wishes, Happy Halloween, and then of course the autumn, Happy Autumn, Autumn Greetings. So it's nice. So just a little tip with these, they're kind of interesting because the first letter is capitalized, but it's also separate from the word. And I started out with gold, and then I thought, oh, what does it look like with brown? Because I could do brown on it also. And then I ended up layering the two together just to give it a little extra something, something. So they kind of look like that. So you can see the brown behind it just a touch. So because it's kind of glued together and offset, you want to make sure you use a glue that when it's dry, it does not stick. It needs to be completely dry and no sticky once it's dry. Like this one, the mono adhesive, when it dries, it still has a tack to it so it can stick to the envelope. You need something that's really gonna be dry. And so I'm gonna use my fine tip glue and just dot it right here and then take off the excess. So just in case I got too much on here, just dot that off. Just like that. Just dab off all the extras. And then when you put those on, they're going to be offset just a teeny little bit. It just makes those letters pop a little bit. Is it a little tedious? Yeah. Is it a special card? Yeah. So, you know, I wouldn't make 50 of them, but it is pretty the way it is. Now you can also take a little bit of the glue and a sponge dauber like you do with the other and just tap it on. This one takes a little bit longer to stick down than the green glue. So I leave it up to you to decide which glue you want to use, but you have to hold this one a little bit longer if you're using it, just to make sure it really gets tacky. And then you can put these on with glue dots or whatever you want to put on for the autumn and the greetings. And then finish it off with the twine, a little bit of twine or something, and you're going to raise that up back there just to make it pop a little bit. Sequins kind of scattered around, kind of make it pretty. And then on the inside, I just cut one. This actually is Darling Duckling right here. And this is olive cardstock, and then a little bit of that same paper down at the bottom. And then that sentiment comes in the stamp set, which I really like. So there you go, Anne. It fits on an A2 size card. Give it a try. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.